Organization for Promotion and Dissemination for the Study of Administration, OFDEA. Bachelor of Business Administration, LAE. Topic 3. Classics of the Administration, San Miguel Productions. Introduction. It was thought that the work in Catholic ethics was a curse on, and in the Protestant, it is pleasing to God. By approximately 1776, James Watts invented the first steam engine. Economic liberalism. All are governed by the law of supply and demand. Mercantilism. The richest state that had more precious metals. Industrial Revolution. When the machines appeared, people migrated from the countryside to the city. Tomás Moro wrote a book called Utopia, where he proposed a better life for workers. With the French Revolution, there was an approach to social equality. Roberto Owen in approximately 1884 made changes in his factories with an 8-hour day, houses and schools for workers. Socialism. Everyone attacked Owen for his new Lamarck factory, where he treated his employees well. They were considered as utopian. With scientific socialism, the Communist Manifesto appears. By Carlos Marx and Federico Engels. Kibbutz from Israel, the only communist model that has worked. Origin of the Riches of the Nations was the book of Adam Smith. The capitalist economy is a market economy. For 1419, Luca de Pacioli, he invented the double game. Taylor is known as the father of scientific administration. Taylor was very inspired by an author named Toll. Time after the Industrial Revolution. In the industrialized countries, it was paid piecework. Many authors of the scientific administration were engineers. Taylor was born in 1856 and died in 1950, in Philadelphia, the son of Quaker parents. He started as a worker while studying engineering. Christian socialism. After the scientific socialism of Carlos Marx and Federico Engels, the Church promotes Christian socialism that defends private property. The popes launch encyclicals. Leon XIII in 1891 published the encyclical Rerum Novarum, which defends workers and private property. Pio XI in 1931 published the encyclical 40th Anno, in which he proposes minor working days. Pius XII by 1941, in a Christmas message critical of capitalism and state authoritarianism. Pius XII in 1961 published the encyclical Moderat Magistra, in which he urged to use private property with a social function. Paul VI in 1971 published the encyclical Populorum Progressio, in which he promotes the development of labor organizations throughout the world. John Paul II helped the countries of socialist Europe to separate from the USSR. Comments. The USSR failed economically, perhaps due to have collective farms, not having many motivators. In Mexico, presidents who promoted parastatal companies were Echeverria Alvarez, Lopez Mateos. Comments. Presidents who promoted privatization of parastatal companies were Carlos Salinas de Gortari, Ernesto Zedillo Ponce de Leon, Vicente Fox Quezada, Felipe Calderón, and Enrique Peña Nieto. Christian socialism defends the right to private property. Neoliberalism equals capitalism with more force. Unemployment is characteristic of the capitalist model. The capitalist economy is a market economy. Classical Administration Schools. 1. Taylor's Science School. 2. Classical School of Vail. Regarding Taylor's Scientific School, the main representative of the administration scientific school was Frederick Taylor, from a family of 4 Quakers. 1856 to 1915, Taylor was promoted from worker to foreman to supervisor to head of workshop to engineer. Taylor's School of Scientific Administration. He proposed a diversification of work. Even before Adam Smith, he talked about a division of labor. In the scientific school you are an autocrat. Productivity is stimulated with economic incentives. A functional supervision of several supervisors is proposed. It did not work. Frederick Winslow Taylor is considered the father of the scientific administration. Taylor's contributions. Taylor's main contributions: selection and scientific training, time and movement studies, functional supervision. Taylor's contributions: standardization of tools in the industry, task planning and workloads. He proposed that there be an instruction guide. Taylor's contributions: salary, incentives and awards, principle of exception, slide rule. Taylor sees the organization from the bottom up. The administrative act occurs naturally. Henry Gantt, 1871 to 1919. He was an engineer, contributed bar charts, newspaper or Gantt. I devise a system of graphing by task. Psychology to worker-employer relations, employee training, publicly qualify employees. Frank Gilbreth and his wife Lillian de Gilbreth study of micro-movements. They contributed the Thurblings, that are 17 movements to analyze any type of task. A merit rating system. They developed workflow diagrams. Henry Ford, 1836 to 1947, days of 8 hours and high payments to employees. Introduced agency sellers. His factory gave concessions, franchises, IDEO installment financing system. Classic School of Administration. The father of modern administration is Henry Vail, 1841 to 1925. His work, published approximately in 1918, is called General Principles of Administration. Henry Vail is the first who conceptualized a complete administrative process model. I work in a mine for approximately 40 years. Henry Vail is a contemporary of Frederick Taylor. Henry Vail promoted stimuli or punishments to workers, personal compensation and fair payment according to what has been done, team spirit, union between workers, command unit, a single supervisor for the group. According to Henry Vail, every company has 6 functions: administrative function, provide, organize, command, coordination and control; technical function, production; financial function, accounting function; security function, take care of personnel and goods; sales function, marketing. 14 Principles of Henry Vail. Modern administration. Henry Vail sees the organization from top to bottom. According to him, coordination is the essence of administration. 1. Division of labor. A complex task is broken down into several simple activities. Operators' specialization is given to improve efficiency and productivity. "14 Principles of Henry Vail." 2. Authority, right to command and the power to enforce through intelligence, moral value, command ability and experience. Responsibility is the natural consequence of authority. 3. Discipline. It consists of obedience and the signs of respect agreed between the company and its agents. 14 Principles of Henry Fail. 4. Command unit. An agent should only receive orders from a single boss to avoid confusion. 5. Management unit. A single boss and a single program for the realization of a set of operations that tend to the same end. 14 Principles of Henry Fail. 6. Subordination of the particular interest to the general interest. The interest of one or more agents should not prevail over the general interest of the company. 7. Remuneration of staff. Fair and equitable payment for the service provided that satisfies the company and the employee. Payment by piece and when it is not possible by daily wage. 14 Principles of Henry Fail. 8. Centralization. Concentration of authority at the highest level of the organization. 9. Hierarchy. It is constituted by the series of bosses that goes from the superior authority to the inferior agent. Sometimes the hierarchical route or chain of command can be ignored to avoid unnecessary delays. 14 Principles of Henry Fail. 10. Order. A place for each person and each person in their place. 11. Equity. It results from the fair application of the established agreements and their proper interpretation when their application may be insufficient. 12. Stability of personnel. An agent needs time to properly perform a task. It is negative for the organization to have a high degree of rotation. 14 Principles of Henry Fail. 13. Initiative. Possibility of conceiving and executing a plan becoming one of the most powerful stimuli of human activity. 14. Staff union. Union and harmony constitute forces of great importance for the organization. Deconcentration. The company is divided into several subsidiaries in several places. Decentralization. Delegate authority to subordinates.